In today's episode of Gardening 101, we started off by visiting a grassland garden that complemented its urban setting beautifully. Craig De Necker explained the do's and don'ts of fire pits, and now Linda Galvad will demonstrate how you can be water-wise in your food garden.
Today we're going to talk about how to be water-wise in your organic vegetable garden. And I know for most of us, when we think of being water-wise, we think of using succulents or cactus and lots of stones to cover the bare soil. But you actually can be water-wise in your organic vegetable garden. And I think it's really important that we understand the scarcity of water as it is today. The easiest thing to do when you want to be water-wise in your organic vegetable garden is to mulch. The best mulches to use for organic vegetable gardens, because they need to degrade into the soil, is straw, hay, dead leaves. You can even use newspaper that you've shredded up. Another great one to use, which is absolutely perfect, is dried grass. Dry grass does have the tendency to mat, so you should mix them with some straw to create some space. And what we have here is an example of mulch that we've used. We like to use straw. It does degrade pretty quickly, like 4 weeks' time. It will be much less than it is now, and then you have to top it up. We use 7 centimeters of mulch in our garden, and when it gets really, really hot, we put that up to 10 centimeters. What mulch does is it's able to keep the moisture into the soil and hold it there. It's also really important to use good organic compost, because compost has the ability to hold 10 times its weight in moisture. So just doing those two things are already putting you on the right path towards being water-wise. Another great example is to plant things as close as possible, so you are not leaving any soil bare. But do remember that you have to leave your plants enough space to grow into their maturity. Eventually, these marrows are going to fill the space completely. Their leaves are going to cover over the soil, and that in itself is going to keep the soil moist, because the sun won't be able to take everything out of the soil that's open for it to do so. The key thing to remember is don't leave any soil bare. So cover every single space you have with your mulch right up to the stem of the plant. Don't worry about any rotting or snails that are lurking in your mulch. That is going to happen, and you are going to have to take care of them, but it's better to keep your soil completely covered to retain as much moisture as you can. I want to tell you about a really clever planting method that is used extensively in Africa in very arid countries. They build or dig a hole, which they call a zai pit. And what a zai pit does is it enables as much water to be harnessed into the growing area as possible. And how you make a zai pit is you dig a 25 centimeter hole in diameter and 15 centimeters deep. The idea is to then take your seedling and plant it in the center of the sunken hole, and then to fill it up with mulch right to the surface, which allows the water to slowly trickle through and keep at the bottom of the pit, giving the plant as much water as it needs. So let's get started. I've got a beautiful corn seedling, which I'm going to pull out of the pot. The soil has recently been dug, and we've added wonderful compost in here. Of course, it's organic compost, so it's not going to be hard for me to just dig a little hole so that I can plant this corn. There you go. Obviously, it's a good idea to water it now and give it a really good soaking in. Once that's done, take your mulch. We choose to use straw. You take your straw, your mulch, and you completely fill up the hole. The great thing about this method is that if you only want to plant in your pits, you don't have to cover the entire area with mulch or compost for that matter. So if you've got very, very clay soil and you can only dig these holes, then it's a good idea to just work in the zai pit and get your crops growing that way. There's actually a fact that after 3 years, your crops start producing 50% more using this fantastic method. we have an ingenious solution for your outside or inside vegetable pot garden. This little contraption here is called an Eco Smart Waterer, and the beauty about it is once you've filled up the bottle, you don't have to worry about watering your plants for at least 2 weeks, depending on the size of the pot, and of course if they're outside, the water will evaporate quicker. Now, how this little beauty works is all you need is a 2 litre or 1.5 litre water bottle that you've got from a soda bottle or mineral water bottle. You do need to cut off the bottom. That's very important because that creates the gravitational pull. You then just fix it onto this little stand, and over here what we have is a regulator. And what this regulator does is it allows you to pick the number that you think you want your water to drip at that frequency. So it is numbered from 1 to 11, and if you are going to pick number 4, your drops are going to be much less frequent than number 9. Now, how you do this is you put it into your pot securely. You need to have your water slightly above the regulator so it can actually run through. You fill your water up with just normal water, just like this. Beauty about how this works is that each drip has the ability to go into the entire pot due to the soil's capillary action of pulling the water through. So you only need one of these for a 50 centimeter pot. You don't need more than that. You fill it up to the top, you regulate the regulator onto about a 9 or 11 because it is a big pot, and you leave it. You don't have to worry about your plants dying when you go away for a long weekend or when you go on holiday. You have them all set up and sorted out and watered. It is best to keep your good water for your organic vegetable garden, but it's absolutely fine to use your grey water in your ornamental garden. It's perfect for your plants there. If you have high winds in your garden, it's really important to identify where they are coming from. In other words, which direction they come from most. Wind evaporates the moisture in your soil, and it also causes your plants to transpire more, which also makes the soil very dry. So it's important to build up any kind of wind barrier. Be careful not to use any solid wind barriers, because what happens then, the wind rushes over the top and slams into your plants right behind the wall. So it's important to identify where the wind is coming from and to put something up so that the wind can diffuse through whatever it is that you use. Shade netting is a great thing. Pergolas with some jasmine growing over it is also fantastic.
After the break, I chat to Michael Rickhoff to find out what the next step is in our weekly Design 101 talk.